5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen, the moment is finally here. It is time for the big reveal. What bat will yours truly be swinging in 2026? Give you a second. Take your final guesses. Alright, here we go. Bum-ba-da-bum. That's right. The Genesis Love the Moment from Louisville will be in my bag for the 2026 softball season. And before I really dig into this bat, I want to first talk about my bat selection process, because it's sort of developed a little bit over time, and it's not something a lot of people really talk about, so I want to lay it out and to kind of give some of the new people who might be new to softball, give them a better idea of what to do so you don't get completely confused like I did. Rule number 1, don't be a dumbass like me. Not all softball is created equal. You need to know, before you start thinking about buying a bat, you need to know what affiliation your softball league or tournament or whatever it may be is affiliated with. So down here in South Florida, we have USSSA and USA Softball are really the two affiliations that leagues and tournaments can kind of be run by. Other states, I understand, have other ones, but know what that is, because you don't want to be like me and just go buy a bat and then show up and be told that you can't use that bat because it's not approved for the tournament or the league that you're playing in, and, well, basically you just bought a bat for $300, hit with it, and now you can't return it, and now you basically just have to try to get something for it on the secondary market because you can't use it. So, I've learned some lessons the hard way, folks. So, that's number 1. Number 2, once you know what you need, what stamp, rule number 2 is you absolutely have to know your specs. And now again, that's a challenge for people who are new, because again, newer you are, the less different types of bats you've swung. So you really don't know offhand. Something might feel good in your hands, but you don't know off the rip what specs you ultimately want to go with. So what do you have to do? Again, this can be a little bit of a challenge to some newer people, but you got to get out and swing bats. So I'm sure if you're playing softball, you have friends that are either on your team or you know people who play. However it is, even if, again, you don't buy a bat right away, try to swing some of your teammates' bats, find out what weight feels best to you, try ones with different end loads. Maybe you want to try a balanced, a mid, like a half-ounce end load or a full ounce. See which of those kind of feels right to you. 1 piece, 2 piece. You need to know what you're looking for. Once those 2 boxes are checked, now you can move on to number 3, which is basically you can eliminate anything that doesn't fit in those boxes. So look, obviously for me, anything that's not a USSSA bat is thrown right in the garbage, because that's what I play. Number 2, I knew going into the season what specs I wanted. So, in 2025, I swung Axe bats. I played first couple months of the season playing ASA ball, and then I ended up getting picked up by a couple of U-Trip teams. So basically the majority, I ended up having to, in like June, maybe it was a little before, it may have been May of last year, I had to go buy another bat because I switched affiliations. But anyway, I swung Axe bats on both sides. And look, I've got nothing to say negatively about Axe bats. They're great. I actually love the Axe handle on them. I didn't have the full OG Axe handle, but mine was I can't remember, the flared knob, I think is what they call it. I loved it. I had no problem with it. They're incredibly hot. Where I think that they probably work the best is for guys that are probably more power hitters, because they don't really have, now this could change going into 26 whenever their next bat drop comes, but my big issue with Axe is they're all, I believe you either have to go balanced, or they're like a full ounce or close to a full real heavy end load. So for me, that just didn't work. I don't really want to swing a balanced. I could, but I don't really want to go there just yet. And I don't want to swing a full ounce end load. It's too much of an end load for me. So I wanted something with a half ounce. So I knew I wanted to make a change. Another thing was the Axe that I was swinging was a 12-inch barrel, which again, for power hitters is great. The shorter the barrel, again, my understanding, now some people may come at me in the comments if I'm not 100% accurate with this, but I believe the shorter the barrel, I believe the way the physics work is the sweet spot gets hotter, or it's just more power can be generated off the sweet spot if the barrel is shorter. With the heavier end load, that's kind of the style of bat that you see the bigger power hitters, majority of them hitting at the highest level, is they're going to be shorter barrel, heavier end loads. To the opposite side of the spectrum would be more of a long barrel and like a balanced would be your most like control forgiving type of a bat. Now for me, I'm not really a power hitter, but I like to live somewhere kind of in the middle. So I knew going into this season, after swinging that bat for 2025, I knew what about it I didn't like. I didn't like the full ounce end load, and I didn't like the short barrel. Wasn't enough forgiveness for me, and a little heavy on the end for my liking. I also happened to be swinging one that was a little too light. So I knew I wanted to go up at least an ounce in weight. I wanted to drop half an ounce in end load, and I wanted a barrel that was longer than 12 inches. Now again, I could have gone 12 and a half or 12.75, and I would have been totally cool with it. I also could have gone, oh, by the way, I don't know if I said, but this is the 2-piece. I could have gone to a 1-piece and probably been okay with it. There were a bunch of 1-pieces that were on top of my list. So at this point, I knew what my specs were that I wanted. So that's when honestly I just go on my binge of like online reviews, primarily YouTube. Like I don't really look at written reviews. I mean, I don't. It's just not really, when you can go watch people that you kind of respect on the YouTube space, go out and watch them hit and get their live reactions. And I've watched enough videos with all these guys from Cole Campbell, Hendo, like Chef. Like I've watched them all so much that I can tell when they really like a bat and when they don't. So again, I watch them, I see what bats they like, I watch their reviews, I listen to what they say, and ultimately I take it with a grain of salt, because ultimately it's got to be the right bat for me. So what might be the right bat for one of them might not be the best for me. So I got to kind of put everything together. And this season, what ultimately, then I guess the last part of it is, I personally, and I'm lucky, I have a facility that's within a driving distance where I can actually go and pick up and feel the bat, where a lot of people that's just not kind of how the softball market works, unless you're actually like buying direct from like a rep at a tournament or something. Generally, I think the majority of the softball market's pretty much online. If you're buying the good bats, like you could buy some of the kind of baseline bats at like a Dick's Sporting Goods or something like that, but if you're actually buying the top of the line bats, you're pretty much buying from like a Headbanger Sports, Smash It Sports, or maybe even from the brand directly. So for me, I'm lucky in that, again, like I said, I have a facility that's close by that I could go drive to and actually put the bat in my hands and feel it and really get an idea of where I want it to be. So that was my last step in the process. I realize a lot of you guys probably won't have that luxury. But like I said, that's hence why that second step in the process is so important. Trying to feel as many bats as you can in BP, or even in a game if you don't own your own yet, or you're looking to change, to kind of get a better idea of what it is what feel that you want out of your new bat. So that being said, why did I choose Louisville and why did I choose this model? So it came down to a few different models, and honestly a few different companies. There's really like one model from like 2 or 3 different companies that I really liked. I think the final 2 that it came down to were the Victus, the Victus, new Victus Vandal, and pretty much this Jenny were the Genesis were pretty much the last two came down to. I was thinking about, my favorite softball player is Bradley Jones, so I did really want to swing his bat for 2026. I thought that would have been cool. The issue is, number one, I needed a new bat, and the retailer that I go through doesn't have them yet. I don't even know if Combat has sent them to exterior retailers yet, and on their website they're sold out. So not the easiest spot, not the easiest bat to find, and also, again, I couldn't pick it up and hold it. So again, I'm going to pass on that one for now. I could end up in the future trying out some Combats, but for right now, just wasn't in the cards for me. And like I said, I picked up the Victus, and honestly, it felt good. It was very similar to this feel, aside from just being a one-piece and a two-piece. But ultimately, I don't know, I gravitated towards the Genesis, the one-piece. Again, like, I'll talk about this a little bit later, but the barrel shape, I just love the barrel shape of the Genesis. It's just, to me, a lot more true than the Victus. The other thing I worry about the Victus is some of the reviews that I saw, the compression dropped really fast. And for me, I don't have a steady income right now, so I can't afford to be replacing bats constantly. So I need a bat that's gonna last me pretty much a year. That's my goal. And I have full confidence that, again, if I treat this Jenny the right way, it's gonna do that, and it's gonna give me that peace of mind that I can put in the work that I wanna put in and not worry about my bat failing on me too quickly. So other than that, there are a lot of things that I absolutely love about this bat. So number one, I actually haven't even pulled it out of the wrapper yet. I'll actually do that right now on camera here. Wow, that was a really bad pull. Okay, let's see if I can get this on camera. Yeah, for some reason this just doesn't want to pull off. Ooh, there we go. There we go, boys. And we're off. So let's get this bad boy out of the wrapper. Ooh, don't want to lose my little warranty card there. So, number one. So since I started playing softball, I've always really liked Louisville's. Just the way that they look, just the shape of the barrel and the bat. It's one thing about softball bats is a lot of them from like this kind of connection area to the barrel, like really kind of thin out as the barrel goes. And I never liked that. I liked one that stayed a little more kind of, I don't know what you want to say, doesn't get thinner, just kind of stays true. And it's more of like looks more like a baseball bat, really. It kind of feels like a baseball bat, which is something that I've always loved about Louisville's, and that's probably why I've had success swinging them. But again, there were definitely reasons why I haven't gone to Louisville yet over my softball playing career, I guess you would say. And one of them was, and a lot of people say this about Louisville, like the sound is kind of funny. And especially last year with the Marshburns, had a really ugly sound. Like it sounded like you were hitting the bat with you were hitting the ball with like a clay pot. Like it was I wouldn't have been able to listen to it for a year. And also I'll talk about this or I could talk about it now. Just this paint finish that's on this bat is, I don't know if Louisville's done anything like this before. It's this matte finish, but it's not like grady or anything. It's very smooth. And that's hilarious. Literally, I'm looking at my top of my screen, and Hendo just posted a review for this bat, literally after I just bought it. But anyway, sometimes irony is great, isn't it? God works. So anyway, I love the finish that's on this bat, and I think it's one of the things that's made this bat sound better than some of the previous Genesis that they've done with like the really like glossy, shiny finish. And I mean, just look at this paint, this kind of colorway, and this just paint scheme is just beautiful. Like it's such a great looking bat. And like I said, I love these matte finish, like something about them. I don't know what it is, but maybe that's the reason this Genesis is getting so much better reviews than a lot of the Genesises in the past. And also, I mean, again, this is just a personal preference thing, but Louisville, I love these grips. They're not too thick. They actually feel pretty good. I'm one guy that normally is ripping grips off of bats, but I'm probably just going to shorten this up a little bit and then stick with it. And honestly, me, I love the Pyramid. I know even a lot of people that swing Louisville don't like it. I love it. I've grown accustomed over the years to having a taper, and it just feels good in my hand how I kind of hang a pinky. So I really like a lot how this bat feels. So the last thing I'll say that really drew me to this bat in particular, so the whole branding of the love the moment and the autism speaks is, first off, is just a phenomenal cause. You know, I think we all probably know people or are personally affected by autism. And, you know, I've got a couple real close family friends that have kids with autism. And probably the thing that it reminds me of most is my baby sister, Nicole, who is just ultimately been one of my biggest supporters throughout my life, is basically has dedicated her life to working with kids with autism. That's kind of what she does for a living. And so when I look at this bat, it reminds me of her, and it's kind of a warm feeling, and I'm glad that I could kind of support that cause that's, you know, very important to her as well. The other thing too is the final is the love the moment. That's something that's just as something to have in my brain is very important. As a guy who's struggled basically my whole life with mental health, since I've had a anxiety disorder since I was a little kid, and in clinical depression since I was a teenager. So again, being in the moment is something that's just very important to me. Even when I'm on the softball field, again, I can get carried away and caught up in what's going on, and, you know, kind of get lost in what it is that, you know, I'm trying to do. And sorry guys, got cut off there, took a phone call, then had to go hit batting practice, and just wasn't able to get back in front of the camera until now. So I do have some more things to add in, which is nice. But just to kind of close where I was the last time, obviously the cause is very important to me. And so just the bat overall, again, I love this finish that they did on this bat. Again, it's a matte finish, but it's not like it's very smooth, so it's not catchy or anything. And again, the sound certainly improved. If you're a guy like me that kind of gravitated away from Louisville because of the sound, this bat, I think, at least in my opinion, solves that problem. I could kind of tell from other review videos that it was going to be better, but I kind of like it. It's definitely a louder sound, higher pitch sound than what I'm accustomed to, but I really like it. As far as, you know, how it performs, so I went through the whole kind of Louisville break-in process, 52 300s, kind of softer swings, then kind of ramping it up a little bit and kind of breaking it in. So I got probably, I don't know, close to probably 70 swings on it, off a tee, not live, before I actually put it into, before I actually even put it into a game. And yeah, I put about, like I said, 70, 75 swings on it, went and had it still tested at 300, which is pretty awesome. And honestly, what was impressive to me is for a bat that was testing at 300, I really didn't see hardly any performance drop from my Axe bat that was, sorry, I got a bug flying around me, that was testing at like 245. So this bat's just going to get hotter, which is awesome. You know, I hit it well. I definitely felt good about having the 13-inch barrel. I felt like I definitely got some more forgiveness out of it, and which helped ultimately with control a little bit. So yeah, I mean, overall, I am very happy with, you know, my decision to this point. And yeah, it's so far through, you know, again, break-in, and, you know, I actually played a doubleheader tonight, so about, let's say 7-8 game swings. I'm definitely happy with this, with Louisville. I'll close with this. The weird thing about me swinging Louisville, so I was actually, the phone call I took earlier, I was talking to a buddy of mine about how much of a Rawlings snob I am. You know, I wear pretty much since I was like a 9-10-year-old kid, nothing but Rawlings gloves. Anything I tried other than a Rawlings just didn't feel right to me. So I'm a snob in that respect, and I've been pretty loyal to Rawlings, but again, it just was a thing where it's like, I'm not being paid to do this. So I got to find the bat that I think is best for me. And the Genesis, for 2026 just is that bat. And so far, I'm happy with it. If you guys want to see, me hitting some live with it, I can do that. Make some more videos. But for now, that's what we got.